I'm tired of playing with you guys. Say hello to my little friend. Listen, people, about to go to the range in a minute. Listen, Anthony Joshua, Jermaine Franklin. Y'all know what it is. It's about that time to regulate. First friends, no ain't. Time to be late. Time to demonstrate. Time to get it right. This ain't gonna take all night. Listen, this fight, it's happening. We've already had a press conference. And until I see press conferences, I'm not even sure that we're going to get certain fights, right? So this fight for Jermaine Franklin, what does it mean for Jermaine Franklin? Well, this should be his second time fighting an elite heavyweight. You know, he had a very, very good showing against Dillian White. And pretty much a lot of people thought that he won the fight. So it's pretty much a second chance for him to fight an elite guy and you know, go further with his career. And the fact that he's fighting Anthony Joshua. Now, let's not let ignorance and hatred and just pure stupidity impede our ability to use common sense. Now, for people to say, yeah, but Anthony Joshua is fighting a guy coming off of a loss. Well, he's coming off of a loss that was debatable. And the fact that he was even in a debatable fight with one of the elite heavyweights where he himself was an unknown. So the fact that it was debatable was like, well, damn, you're going to have people that feel like, well, Dylan's overrated. Then you're going to have people that also feel like, well, hey, man, this guy, you know, came out of nowhere and just pretty much gave Dillian White a fight when everybody thought that Dillian was going to crush this guy, right? So, again, popularity is not what makes you good, okay? Yeah, Dillian has his flaws, of course. And I told you guys when he fought against Fury, people saying, Fury's different, Fury's, you know, listen, we've seen people give Fury a much better fight. Let's be real. Okay, and Fury has his flaws the same way. Dillian showed me nothing in that fight. Nothing. Okay. But bottom line is Jermaine Franklin went in there and held his own. Now, against Anthony, now, for AJ, well, Eddie Hearn made it clear he want to get him in there with guys who, you know, we heard Zhilei Zhang name come up. That was the only name I really heard come up, but he was just trying to not to get him to go in there and fight a complete meatball, but someone outside of what's considered the elite, Afre Ajaba. Somebody where, yeah, there's somewhat of a test there. You know, there's some respect on that name, but AJ's been fighting nothing but the top guys. So we understood what he was trying to do after coming off the 2 losses. Let's get his confidence up. But Anthony Joshua is pretty stubborn and he doesn't want to fight these a lesser opponent of a guy. Now, looking at who's available out there and being able to just, let's make some fights, let's stay busy, let's stay active. You know, I have a new trainer. Now people feel like Anthony Joshua has lost his heart. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't. He's just there. I don't know that he so much lost his heart. That part I don't know. I feel like that desire may not be what it was. But the fire, put it like that, the fire, that killer instinct, that type of stuff. I don't think he lost his heart. And I do think he cares, because if he didn't, well, why get rid of Garcia and get Derek James? Okay. And Derek James has spoke highly of him, said that he likes what he see in him. Now, of course, there's the things that they have to tweak and work on, right? Of course that has to happen, right? So when you look at all of the comments and things that people say, it's No, I don't think Anthony Joshua lost his heart. I do feel like he doesn't have that killer instinct anymore. He hasn't showed it. Okay, like for him to say that he's not a 12 round fighter, but not go out there and try to get rid of Usyk. Like, where was that fire at, right? I know that he has a concern of emptying his gas tank too fast in the fight, and that makes him hold back. But with Usyk being a slick boxer, him knowing Usyk's stamina has never been an issue, really, right? But if you watch Usyk versus Derek Chisora wasn't able to hit anything. But the constant walking him down, coming in, he made Usyk fight at a faster pace than he would have liked to. I feel like Anthony Joshua has forgotten part of the reason why he has this long jab and reach. Okay, and we know his weakness has been psychologically. So I don't feel like he's fighting a Jermaine Franklin because he's afraid to fight anybody else. That I never ever questioned his heart ever. I always said it makes no sense for him to jump back in there with any top guy that's an actual threat if he's not improving or better as a fighter. Now, he showed improvement in the fight with Usyk, but just not the right improvements. So he picked pretty much. I feel like this is let him get back in tune fight. Should he beat Jermaine Franklin? And I feel like he should. I believe Dylan will be next. He beats Dylan. I believe he should. Then I believe after that, they will start calling Wilder out again. The problem with them calling out Wilder is just like they try to not to ruffle feathers. They'll make mentions. I've reached out to Wilder 3-4 times already, right? Eddie Hearn to tell you in a heartbeat that they've been trying to get Wilder, but at the same time, it's always for whatever reason that fight just won't happen. And I don't believe it all is because of Eddie and because of Joshua. And even Wilder constantly using Joshua's name about wanting to fight him in Africa and so much, and this is the number one guy everybody want to see him fight. Well, there's no title involved. It's about legacy, right? It ain't about the money. It's about legacy, right? So we'll see what happens. Now, as for AJ, and I believe strongly, after he fights Franklin, that Dylan will be next on the list. Now, I think with AJ's physical size, his strength, his reach, he has enough speed to get shots to Franklin. He's not going to have the same problem with Franklin that he had with Usyk. He's not going to have the same fight with any fighter that he had with Usyk. I do believe a guy like Frank Sanchez will give Anthony Joshua problems. I think Frank will give anybody problems. Okay? Because his boxing style and he can punch. I think that Frank Sanchez is a problem for any of those guys, and you don't see any of these heavyweights calling his name at all. And you see, when you fight a lesser guy, but then you say a guy like a Frank Sanchez, he has to win more, he has to prove more. No. And, for example, if you had a choice, would you rather see Anthony Joshua fight Frank Sanchez, or would you rather see him fight Jermaine Franklin? And the understanding of getting his confidence to where it needs to be, and they're going to compare his performance against Jermaine Franklin versus Dillian White's performance. And he has a history with, Dillian White. So I'm pretty sure you guys would rather see Frank Sanchez. And I'm pretty sure you guys know overall that, Frank Sanchez is more of a threat than people give him credit for. Now, that being said, he uses reach. I don't think he needs to be on the back foot against Jermaine Franklin. I think he needs to put it on Jermaine Franklin. Those power shots, getting those shots to him, some lateral movement, because he's not a bulldozer. He used to walk you down, but he always did it strategically. That's the Anthony Joshua we need to see against any of these guys. Go get if he can get back to that mindset. But that's the Anthony Joshua that we need to see. Now, a win for him, like I said, it just sets up the fight with him and Dylan. He beats Dylan. It sets it up at least another attempt to try to get in there with Wilder. And basically, this is what I'm saying with all these rematches with guys. Now, this would be a rematch with White, but he's not known for rematches. So where a guy like Wilder, who's fought Ortiz 2 times, who's fought Fury, 3 times, It's like if Ortiz would have won against Ruiz, I strongly believe we had already had or been leading up to a third fight with him and Wilder. And so, whereas AJ, he'll end up fighting a Frank Sanchez or another top guy. Not the same guy back to back to back and over. For what reason, right? So he needs this win. I just don't see Jermaine Franklin from what I've seen of him. I see what he can do. I don't see why Anthony Joshua would have a problem getting rid of him. Honestly, not that Jermaine's not a tough guy, and he is he's a decent fighter, man. He's a decent fighter. But looking at all of AJ's physical gifts, and I don't think that he should have as hard a time getting rid of Dylan White. It's just the mindset of Anthony Joshua of how does he see the fight playing out? How confident is he in himself that he can go in there and get rid of these guys like he's supposed to? And I believe that that's what it really comes down to. He knocked out Dylan White, seventh, eighth round in their first fight, and he was winning the fight regardless. He got buzzed in the fight and people made a big deal. It's just boxing, people, and Dylan can punch. But at the same time, if you look at what a person physically has over, you don't need to. That's why when I look at a guy like FA, for example, and people, they never bring this up, but FA, with his height and reach, he fight guys in the phone booths, man. He's here. It's like, FA, use that long reach. Keep him on the end of your shot. FA is not fast. He does have power, but it's like you smother your punches. You're fighting the guy at close quarters when you have a much longer reach. You have much more height. This is like when you watch him when he fought Frank Sanchez. Frank exploited all of that. He took advantage of that. And this is what I mean. I don't see how guys don't watch other guys and think, yeah, me and this guy are very similar in stature. Height, weight, reach, all of that. But I see where this guy went wrong against this guy. I see why this happened to this guy. So I think that if AJ understands what he needs to do, I think if he understands that and he understands his physical ability, he understands what he has, it should make him fight smarter. But that's yet to be seen. And this is why these fights are intriguing if they actually happen. And it's just a good thing, the fact that Jermaine Franklin accepted the fight. He wanted the fight. Now, him talking about knocking Anthony Joshua out, hey, go for it, man. One thing that Jermaine Franklin lacks is big power. So, even though that's what he's saying he's going to do, or what he aimed to do, for AJ, I don't think he should have nearly as tough a time with Jermaine Franklin that Dylan White had. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to. I don't know. I don't know what, it like I said, it's all about Anthony Joshua. It's what does he see in himself? How confident is he in his own ability? But looking at, and the fact that, look, Derek James, you don't go on a camera and try to disrespect your own fighter. And, Derek James, whatever he see in Anthony Joshua that he needs to change and help. And yeah, it's certain things you do have to change. Okay. But that's what you keep behind closed doors. Now, a lot of people don't think about this or remember this. But, even when he had Robert Garcia before that, remember, Robert Garcia said he think that it's AJ's mind. Like, that he think he's mentally broken. And I agree. And then when they asked him, like, how do you fix that? Can you fix that? What did he say? No, you can't fix that. No, he can't be fixed. You can't. And then all of a sudden, he ends up being the guy training Anthony Joshua. So things that he say, it affected Anthony Joshua because, for one, it's disrespectful. Now, this was before he took the role, but AJ still reached out to him. But then, two, how much do you believe in your own fighter? And if I can feel like that, and you guys can feel like that, then Anthony Joshua surely has to feel like, yeah, this guy didn't really believe in me. And things that he said, it showed that. So a trainer and a fighter has to have chemistry. Okay, they have to have chemistry. So I don't see Derek James as, a guy that's going to go in there and just let Anthony Joshua be Anthony Joshua to the point he's not improving. He's doing the same thing that's getting him causing him to lose in the ring. And yeah, even though Usyk is, I feel like the best heavyweight out there, skill for skill, I think Frank Sanchez just hasn't had the opportunity yet to prove it, because he's up there as well. Just not in popularity wise, and the people are not looking at him because they don't know him. But overall, just saying, even though Usyk is probably the better heavyweight out there, overall, he's still a man. And I would never have someone in my head where I'm feeling like I can't beat this guy, or, man, this is good. No. You have to do what you have to do. And I believe that Anthony Joshua does train hard. You see what he does in training, the things that they show you. I do believe he trains hard, but at the same time, it's like mentally. It's not just physically what you're doing. It's like in a fight, it's mentally and training the same way. You have to understand what it is you need to do to secure that win. And I think that if Anthony Joshua gets in there, and let's say he destroys Jermaine Franklin, I think if he does that, I think that it should get his confidence to a level where he's like, you know what? I should have did this a long time ago. And then get back on board. It takes more than just having a new trainer. If that new trainer can get you to tap into what you need to tap into to get you to that level, to get you back, or to get you better than you were, or whatever it may be, that's when it's effective. Just having, because what you do in training camp, and what do we always hear fighters and trainers say in training camp in the corners, you was doing this in training camp. Why are you not doing it now, right? So you always hear that. A guy did this in training and he looked good in training, but then when the fight come, same thing happened. So we don't know. I just, like I said, look, Jermaine Franklin's a decent fighter. Okay, he definitely is a decent fighter. He's better than what people gave him credit for, and that's because they didn't know who he was. They didn't know much about him. But again, Dillian Whyte, to me, is a decent fighter. He's Dillian Whyte. I never saw him the way people was elite, yeah, one of the top. That's in the heavyweight, yes. But there's other guys who I think will beat Dillian Whyte. Okay, but also dealing with his flaws. When I pointed these things out about him in the past, people always say, "Oh, I'm sure he'll fix that." Then you look at the time frame and you think, "Well, when is he going to fix this?" Because this has been a while. This is just a part of his style, things that he do. And you have to be able to exploit the weaknesses of your opponents. So with AJ, the reason why everything is in question is because it's not because he's slow. No, it's not because he can't punch. No, it's not because he can't box. No, it's because this latest comment where he said he like making money. That's what drives him to fight. Now that have even people feeling more like, damn, Jermaine Franklin he has more of a chance now than ever, because you can see Anthony Joshua, there's no change in his mindset. And people are making video after video about those comments. And I can understand why people feel like that. But at the same time, we'll just see what happens come fight night. So, like I said, it's for AJ, it's getting back in the swing of things to get back to the bigger fights. For Jermaine Franklin, it's trying to secure a win so he can become an elite guy. So we'll see how this goes, but it's at least it's a fight that's happening, because we got so many fights that we keep talking about are supposed to happen, or we like to see, but they don't happen. So this is a situation you take what you're getting in that sense. So talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. I'm about to go to the shooting range, and I will catch you guys on the next video.